Well,
Wow.
we've got a new space.
We have totally leveled up.
This is pretty amazing. Thank you, Cohatch,
Thank you,
for
Coach.
allowing us and giving us access to use this amazing space now. I can't wait to see what we are able to do with this. Bring in some more guests, do some really fun stuff. So today we are continuing our talk about our 15-year anniversary.
That's right.
So this week we launched our anniversary party that we're going to be having on September 15th. And
20th.
Yeah, I'm sorry. September 20th.
It's been a long week.
It's been a really long week. Yeah.
September 20th, Saturday, September 20th.
From 1 to 4. We are celebrating our 15-year anniversary as well as launching officially our new name, which is Atlas Rising. And so today what we're going to talk about is it's been 15 years since I've been in practicing at this location. So I thought we would talk about 15 lessons that we've learned over the last 15 years. And you've been with the office for 7 or 8 years, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to dig into today. 15 lessons learned for 15 years. Pretty amazing. So these are in no specific order, but I think there is a general theme that we'll start to see as we go through all of them. But one lesson is pain is rarely the problem. It's a signal. And we see this you could probably substitute pain with really any other symptom that people are coming in for. Because I know a lot of the people you see aren't necessarily in pain, but they're having maybe digestive issues or sleeping issues or energy issues or, any of those. But on my side of the practice, pain is a big motivator that gets people scheduling and in the door because they're can't do something or they're tired of not being able to do it because they're in a lot of pain. And it's really your body's just warning and signal system that something else is going on and broken. And so a saying that I'm fond of is, I don't want to be chiropractic Advil, right? So the last thing I want to do is just adjust somebody to get rid of their symptom or pain, because there's a lot of ways that you can do that, right? I mean, take some painkillers, but at our core, part of our mission is we're trying to solve the underlying issues of what's going on so that they can continue to not have those issues and they're not solely reliant on us to just come in and get that quick fix so that like they would taking an Advil.
Pain is definitely the body's way of really trying to get our attention. And I never want to bypass the pain. I find that the pain is one of the most important points of reference to actually follow it all the way downstream, right? Follow it all the way downstream, find out where it's coming from, and then really starting to look at things very foundationally, and then look all the way back upstream.
And talking about looking up and downstream, part of what we'll talk about is timing of those things. Sometimes that takes a lot of time to get to, and sometimes we can see that happen
Instantaneous.
Really quickly. And that's where, you can start to use pain as like what you're looking for, but ultimately, pain is not, it's just your body's warning signal that
That's right.
there's something else going on. The next lesson is something we also always talk a lot about, which is true healing happens. True healing happens when you treat the whole person, not just the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
So we started to get on a soapbox last week when we were talking about how screwed up the medical system is, because they really only address the symptom of what's going on, and very rarely are looking at the whole person.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certainly a time and a place for that,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's gotten out of control, and most general doctors now have very little to offer except sending you to somebody who's more of a specialist. And, you know, our experience has been the body is so integrated. And that is why we don't just do chiropractic. We don't just do nutrition. We're not just a gym, right? We look at all of these different factors that are going to impact someone's health. And you need to stack and layer those things together, because it's not just about one of those things, and it's not just about fixing the person's symptom. It's about addressing the whole person.
That's right. I had a professor who used to say, you will never solve for symptoms. You are always going to solve for the person who happens to have the symptom. Mm-hmm.
That's super interesting. There's a lot of different rabbit holes you can start to go down.
So many.
From that. But, you know, lately we've been talking about how how emotional issues show up as physical problems, how, you know, when we're coaching someone in, let's say, nutrition and weight loss, a lot of the time, you know, part of what we're doing with somebody in that program isn't just about losing the weight, right? There's so many other underlying stories and emotions and just things that we're dealing with that shows up physically, shows up in our behaviors, shows up in our patterns.
Yes.
And
it's biochemical. Like it's strictly biochemical. It reminds me of working with digestive wellness and the person as a whole, what their life experiences in that moment definitely influences the whole biochemical rhythm of their body. And in some cases, it's that biochemical rhythm that's actually suppressing their digestion. But it's incredibly, your body is incredibly nuanced. The biggest pharmacy, have you heard this, right? The biggest pharmacy known to date is the one inside of our own bodies.
Mm-hmm. That's what got me into wanting to get into healthcare, is just how amazing the body is.
Oh my goodness.
How amazing it was created. It's fun to see. Also makes it, you know, also when you start to look at working with the whole person, it also makes it a lot harder, because you can't just focus on what tools can I have to just deal with this one symptom. Now it's like, okay, how many different layers are going on?
That's right.
That we can and need to address to really get to the underlying root issue of what's happening.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, when I sit with someone, I can so easily close my eyes, and there's just all of this fire going off, and I'm really trying to connect the dots. Like I can close my eyes and I'm as I listen and really try to find out, is it the chicken? Is it the egg? Which came first? Like it's and honestly, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle. It's a big puzzle.
Yeah. The next lesson really ties into that, which is healing is not linear, and progress counts a lot more than perfection does. Because number one, we're always evolving and changing and growing, and we can, in my opinion, always improve our health. And so, one of the questions everyone always asks us is like, how long is this going to take? And it's it's always some really interesting dynamics to that question, because number one, if people really knew how long the issue had been starting and building up, right? Someone just came in today, they've had lower back issues, that they've noticed it for a couple of years. When we took x-rays, I can tell them that this issue actually started 15 or 20 years ago, and just the last couple of years you started feeling pain. And so to look at that and to know that it's been that long of a period of time, that little things have just been adding up and building up and adding up and building up, it's honestly amazing that if we can get them feeling better and out of pain and moving and functioning again in 8 weeks, how amazing is that? So it's interesting to have the conversation, because everyone, we're just in such a quick fix society. The summertime is like people coming in, I'm going on vacation tomorrow. Can you fix me before tomorrow? And it's like, let me wave my magic wand here. If there's a way I can get you feeling better for a vacation, fantastic.
Right.
But this has been going on for 20 years.
Right. And to recondition the body not to assume the same position definitely takes time, because the body's desire is to maintain some type of homeostasis, even if that homeostasis is not fully aligned, right, for the body. It's just what the body's been conditioned to. So it does take time.
It takes time.
Because the body's, right.
And we also wish that, okay, if we say it's going to take someone 8 weeks or 12 weeks to lose 20 pounds or to not have headaches anymore, it would be amazing if that was just a gradual improvement throughout that entire period of time. But when someone's losing weight, what happens?
There are so many fluctuations. The body is really trying to catch up.
It's not linear.
And it's not linear at all. People always ask me, like, why in my scans, like, why did I lose 8 pounds? But in my scans, like, I'm presenting with, 8 extra inches, like, around my thighs, or, what is going on here? And it really does take the body time to actually catch up, because so much is changing at once. It's not, you look at it and you want to say it's just weight, but we're talking about systemic inflammation. We're talking about blood sugar balancing. We're talking about blood pressure reduction.
Well,
we're
and as
about,
if someone is really metabolically unhealthy and they have a lot of weight to lose, your body is intelligent. Even if you want to lose it around your midsection first, that's not going to be where you lose it first.
Right.
You're going to lose fat from your internal organs,
First.
Visceral fat.
That's right.
Because that's the highest risk to your overall health.
That's right.
And so your body is intelligent. If it's losing in your thighs before it's losing somewhere else, or vice versa, there's a reason for that. And yes, we want to do as much as we can to try to get you the results you're looking for. Part of it is also understanding there is an intelligence to your body, and we want to try to work with that. And sometimes that means you're going to lose 3 straight days and then you're going to gain.
That's right.
And that doesn't mean the program isn't working or that you have done something wrong.
That's right.
The person
That's
or
right.
you,
That's right.
both. It means that that's what your body's going through.
That's right. The body speaks. If you take time to listen to it, the body really speaks if you give it a chance to, right? And in the beginning it's quieting down all the noise first so we can start to actually hear what's signaling, because most of the time, talking about going back to that first lesson, pain is rarely the problem. How much we actually accommodate pain is wild, because you don't know until you know. You don't actually know how much pain you're actually accommodating until you give it some time to actually cool down, to quiet all the noise down and allow it to speak.
Oh, I say that a lot. You're going to be amazed at how bad you were feeling when you start to feel good. Because it's like gaining weight. It happens very slowly over time. And one day you wake up and you can't get out of bed. One day you wake up and you're 25 pounds, looking in the mirror, like, who the hell's this? Right? Like that didn't happen last night. That happened over months or years. So, next lesson learned over the 15 years is that energy, posture, mindset are inseparable in long-term health. Meaning, kind of what I was alluding to earlier, of it is not just one of those things is going to make someone healthy.
That's right.
And that's, a big part of, go back and listen to what our name stands for.
That's right.
It's addressing this component, which is, it's not just about the physical person. It's not just about the mental person. It's not just about the spiritual person. It's not just about the energetic person. All of these things come together, and we have to address all of them and individually and as a person. So, that's ultimately, I think, one of my biggest, you kind of know that, but over the last 15 years, that has become so much more apparent.
I always say that the energy in which you do a thing determines the outcome of that thing. So I love how it says, and I know we're talking about a different kind of energy here, but the energy, posture, mindset, it literally is inseparable. Inseparable. You cannot just address the posture of the body without actually addressing, I'm going to just say it one more time, why your body continues to assume that position. It's crazy.
We were just talking about the next lesson. So lesson 5 that we've learned, prevention is always easier and cheaper than crisis care. So we were just saying, what was that saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes.
There is so much to that. We kind of have an interesting job because we get to talk to many different people in many different situations of their life, in many different stages of life, different ages of life. And so we get some perspective that maybe a lot of other people don't. And almost always people come in and they have known that they've had an issue for a long time, and they would almost give anything to be able to go back and make different choices and changes along the way because they ignored the signs and symptoms that have now caught up to them. And one of my biggest, I hear it every single day, and we'll do a whole episode on this at some point, but the essence of it is it's a bitch getting old. And there's so many little nuances to that statement because, part of me is like, okay, I can definitely tell in the last 15 years, yeah, I notice things now in my body. So what does another 15 years look like, and what am I going to be feeling and saying at that period of time? So I want to respect where they're at. But my first inclination is to say it doesn't have to. And yes, right now you have these problems, but what can you do now to prevent what things look like in 10 years or 5 years? Because you didn't do it 5 years ago. So we can't go backwards, but we can say, okay, I wished I would have done this differently for the last 10 years. Well, guess what? You get to make a choice today to treat the next 10 years differently.
That's right.
Because it's not going to change unless you change what you're doing, what your habits are, how you're treating your body and your health. And so there is so much so much truth to that. And the number one reason for bankruptcy is healthcare, right? Somebody has a major traumatic health event that they weren't planning on, weren't expecting. That is huge for people. And so, that pound of prevention or an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's cheaper both monetarily and energetically and time-wise.
I also want to address that what typically holds someone back is fear of now knowing what was unknown. So I just want to add that I can't tell you how many times I have said, listen, very gently, that avoidance is not a course of action, and really staring something on full frontal in the face really will bypass fear, right? Action bypasses fear if you just get in there, because sometimes the fear of knowing the thing is actually greater than really knowing the thing. The fear you're fearing of
the fear of what's going to happen when you get started is way worse than what happens when you actually get started.
That's right. Thank you.
Yes. This ties into the next lesson, which is investing in your health is never a cost. There is such an ultimate return on that.
That's right.
Investment.
That's right.
And I mean, you hear this all the time. So again, it kind of ties into the people who, it sucks to get older, right? I mean, how you spend your time and your money, you're never going to look back and say, I wish I had not gone to the gym so much.
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
I wish I had not eaten so healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I wish that I didn't journal and meditate so much. Like, you're never going to do that.
Mm-mm.
But the number of people that we hear, and even say myself, I wish I would have done those things a lot more, is, it just speaks to those are such investments, and it doesn't have to be a monetary investment. Time is the largest investment, and probably the most important investment we can make. Right, what we spend our time with really dictates our standards and our values, right? Just as much as money does, right? So if we take a look at someone's checkbook, their bank account, and their calendar, right? You're able to look at and see what they value, what they're spending time with, what they're spending time on. So, kind of rolling with the theme here, the next lesson is you're never too late to heal. The body's always ready to rise.
That's just like, I work with men and women who are in their 70s and their 80s, and I feel like one of the biggest gifts is getting to sit down and just watch as their life like opens up and unfolds and starts to heal. I mean, because sometimes that's 80 years of trauma, and it's incredible, like to watch the transformation into their freedom. There's nothing like it. And I have so much honor, because I think, wow, on one side it's like, whoa, you've carried this around for 80 years of your life. That's crazy. Because it is crazy strength. It's crazy resilience. It's like when you get a hold of it. And I think to myself, wow, like, how much power are you going to move, through the evening of your life with, because there's nothing more precious than being able to be a part of that.
I think the hope, part of one of our core values is that hope of being able to offer someone hope, that, because let's face it, when people, by the time they get to our office, oftentimes they've been to everywhere else. They've been to multiple doctors. They've been through physical therapy. They've been through who knows what other weight loss programs and things on their own. And so a lot of times they're really beaten down and discouraged, and their guard is definitely up, because, either they're at a point where they feel like there isn't hope, or and they're just going to have to deal with it, or they've been sold just a bunch of crap so many times that, unfulfilled promises and, give us $4,000 and like you're gonna be fixed. That, so I think that plays into it as well, and people get jaded on what is actually possible again, and you know, I hear it a lot, and I think our patients trust us because we get a lot of referrals. They trust that we're going to, and I tell people, if I can't help someone, I'm going to tell them. And I do have those conversations. Like, this is realistically what you can expect. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page with that. And the relief that people get of, yeah, I kind of suspected that, or, oh my gosh, I didn't think we were that we could get to that level of fixing things. But most of the time, it's not too late. Right? Like, most of the time, it might take longer than you're hoping for. It might cost more than you're hoping for.
That's right.
But it's not too late to do.
That's right.
And it's not too late to make those changes.
And get a second opinion, or a third or a fourth or a fifth, because how many patients do you see and they come in with that feeling of, there's no more hope for me, I'm bone on bone. And you take a look at it and there's just enough.
It's actually not bone on bone.
Right?
Your
There's
surgeon told you that because they want to do surgery.
That's right.
It's not bone on bone. You can clearly see there's not bone on bone there. And in some people, it is bone on bone.
Some people
and
it is.
We're just having the conversation of, I understand you don't want to have surgery. There's going to be something we can do to maybe prolong that, but at some point you're going to need surgery.
That's right.
But at least we're having that conversation, and they get to make that choice. They get to become in control of their health again, and it's not just left to what Dr. Google has to say about everything. All right, number 8. Number 9. Are we missing one? I don't know. The next one. Supplements fill gaps, but lifestyle fills the foundation.
That's right.
So I'm going to let you take this one.
Okay. Supplements fill the gap. So I love how it says that, because what we can do with lifestyle, right, and whole food, foundational, healthy nutrition, and we have already said that, right, the body's the biggest pharmacy in the world, right? So if your body, you have a living pharmacy inside of your body. And so if we can get things communicating correctly and firing right, and the communication, to actually start opening up inside of your body, then and you can do that by, and you made a couple of those inferences, exercising regularly and eating congruently with your body, and meditating, and pulling together all those right things to just give your body an optimal foundation in which to, again, start to speak and then fill in the gaps, because usually then the body just needs a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a remembrance about what it already innately, intelligently knows what to do, because it does know what to do. Sometimes it just needs to be reminded of what to do, right? And us coming alongside of it and addressing stressors and things like that. And I always say, you're not always going to be able to take the stressor away or the stress away. But what we can do is we can put your body in such a position that it's showing up to that stressor differently.
And, a lot of times our goal in working with supplementation is let's get a jump start. Let's get you noticing and feeling some changes while you make these other lifestyle
That's right.
types of changes, because let's face it, those are going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
And, telling a new mother to,
Oh.
well, you got to just get more sleep and,
Oh.
eat better. And, like, let's be real. Like, there's real life,
There's real life.
right? Like, we're in the middle of a giant party planning and school, and like, it's crazy town right now.
It
In
is
the office
crazy
and
town.
outside of the office.
It is crazy town right
And
now.
so, like, to tell me, just, you got to reduce your stress and you got to sleep better. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, personally, I'm trying to do all of those things. I'm exercising, I'm doing sauna, where, yes, I know what to do in those things, but guess what? I'm also taking a ton of supplements right now.
That's right.
That help with my detox, that help with my energy levels, that help with my hormones, that like, it's a supplement.
It's a supplement.
I'm not using it as a crutch
Or in lieu of.
And that's not what we recommend. That's not what we're not just selling supplements so that you can go eat like crap.
Exactly. I was going to say you can't out supplement poor lifestyle choices.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same with red light.
Right.
You can't come in and do red light and then hit up McDonald's on the way home.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work that way. And so that's the real foundation of that we're trying to make is yes, healthy lifestyle choices, while also recognizing there's life, right? Like, we're not all billionaires who are only
hiring private chefs.
Yeah. Our only job is to, like, let's see how low I can get my biological age.
Right.
Right? Like,
oh my goodness.
Let me do all these hacks all day long so that, I can not age. It's like, that would be great. But that's not real life. That's not my real life. It's not the real life of any of our patients.
Yes. And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking of also all the people that we work with that on the flip side of that, we don't want to under supplement, but we don't want to over supplement either. And finding that fine line to understanding how efficiently the body is doing all on its own, you want to be able to find that baseline also, right? And I think that's also really important, because I have people who come in with literally baskets of supplements and saying, "Hey, let's muscle test this," and very inquisitively, this is pretty hard, because people really are like, what should I be taking? I don't know what I should be taking. Like, so I always tell people, like, it should be very pointed, right? And that's where applied kinesiology comes into play. It should be very pointed nutrition to what it is that your body can utilize for cellular energy and what it can't. And that's really important to know too. So I just wanted to make a little mention of that, because it just made me think of, and I used to be that person. I mean, that's why I love phytotherapy and herbs, and I love nutraceuticals and protomorphogens, and I love supplements, right? But knowing actually what my body is, what's creating thriving and what's creating balance. I love the word balance. That's most important, without overdoing it and then taxing my body, because you can do that.
Sure. Yeah. There can be too much of a good thing.
There can be too much of a good thing.
Yeah. All right. Next one. We love this one. Community support can be the missing link in transformation.
Yes.
We have seen that so many times. Personally, I've seen it, in my own life. I've mentioned this a handful of times already, but, forever I went through believing that I didn't need community or a lot of or friends or, other guys to like share life with. And now that I've had that for a couple of years, I like it makes such a difference in my life. I can't imagine not going through life without that. And I know that that's the case for so many people, both men and women, that they never get an opportunity to be part of a community where they really feel like they are seen and heard and valued, and that they're an important part of. And, over the last couple of years, certainly since 2020, but over the last couple of years, and especially moving forward with the direction that we're going with the practice, community is really the centerpiece for what we're trying to create.
Yes.
And that's why we're going to be holding more experiences, different experiences, retreats, classes. We want to bring people together because technology is advancing so quickly. People aren't going to need us for information.
No.
But they are going to need us as a community of like-minded people who believe the same sorts of things.
That's right.
Because it's valuable and it is a missing link in so many people's healing and health journeys. Just the value of being around other people who are dealing with the same types of issues and struggles completely changes people's perspectives.
It really does. And there's the old adage, right? It takes a village. It takes a village. It takes the tribe, right? Coming around, right? One another. And the empowerment that starts to happen, can you think of a moment in your life where you felt fully empowered and shared that empowerment with someone else? And can you imagine sharing that with someone else and sharing that with someone else, and the power grid that starts to light up as a result of it? Because it's also more than just the village and the tribe and the community. It literally is the energy that starts to take place inside of it, and that becoming wildly contagious in a very good way, right? Because we all share that same heart, mind, body, soul, and realize being connected to one another is what lights everything up.
And that ties into the next lesson, which is everyone's timeline is different. So honoring your own pace.
That's right.
And that's the beauty of having a community like that, is somebody who's just starting can be connected and integrated with somebody who's at the next stage of life or the next stage of their health journey.
That's right.
And they can, number one, be motivated by what they're seeing. And number two, there can be some coaching and accountability and
Yes.
Just
there's so much value.
Raising someone up.
That's exactly it. And being on both ends of that, right? I can't even, it's indescribable, the value of I remember being there in my own life, like crying out, literally crying out. And I remember a moment, just very out loud with my words saying, I don't want one more person to say, well, I can only imagine what you're going through, or I don't know what you're going through, but, and I literally remember it was such a God moment where I was like, you need to send me someone. Like, I don't want to hear that one more time. Send me someone who has gone through exactly what I have been through. I want to hear from that person. How did they make it to the other side? And the value of someone who has forged that path already ahead of you saying, hey, look, it's possible. There's so much more for you beyond this. Let's go, right? And I see the machete, like the in my hand, just, paving a way, through the Amazon forest to the healing hut. I know it's but in my mind, the value of having people around me, I'll never forget it. And not only will I never forget it, there's no way I would be here today even talking about that hadn't I had so many people just doing that very thing, lifting me up, and again at my own pace,
Right. In your timeline.
in my timeline, and also the room created for that. It's priceless.
Because you can't look at someone's health journey or healing journey and expect yours to be like that.
Right. It's going to be, everything's going to look wildly different. But there are some remnants of everybody else's story that you can recognize sometimes in your own, and you can say just that one thing that they need to hear to keep going.
And the whole timeline, that's also why, we really try to create a customized roadmap and plan for someone, because their journey is going to be vastly different than the next person's.
That's right.
And so that's why we spend a lot of time with people. Your consultation is 90 minutes. Mine is at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We want to dig into and dive into this is not like a 5-minute appointment where sign on the dotted line. Like we want to actually know what's going on in someone's life and give them all the options that are available to change their health.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to happen. And their timeline's completely different than the next person's.
That's right.
So the next lesson is small wins create momentum that leads to massive transformations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest, one of my favorite books is The Gap and the Gain.
Mm-hmm.
And my personality is more visionary. So like I'm always looking towards the future, and that also makes it a lot easier for me to get frustrated and down on myself that I'm not where I want to be at in all the areas of life, right? Mm-hmm. Parenting and business and health, and like it's easy to say, oh man, this is what I want that to look like. And so The Gap and the Gain walks through really being intentional about monitoring and keeping track of the progress that you have made up to this point. Yes, you can look at that future, but that future is always a moving target that you're never going to really see, because as soon as you get to where you wanted to be 5 years ago, it's that vision's already changed and it's something different now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like the people who say, well, I just want to make, an extra $5,000 a year.
Right.
Right? It's like, well, you get there and it's like, well, actually, I'd really like to make this much more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so keeping track of those small wins, especially with weight, with, something that's going to take time, like posture, or like trying to increase someone's, disc space so that they can walk longer, right? Like those are the types of things that do take a longer period of time. And so it's really easy to get frustrated some days when, man, last week was really great. This week is not great. And now I'm feeling really down. But, part of our goal and part of what we try to educate and help people with is understanding what those small little wins are along the way so that they can recognize those.
I love that. I wrote about that this week, actually. That's what I was writing about, because it was looking backwards to move forward. You look backwards to move forward. It really is the reverse gap, right? So what we're talking about is, instead of measuring my progress by how much further I have to go, it's let's take a look backwards. Let's see where we were yesterday and the day before that, and where was I at this time last week? Where was I a month ago and 2 months ago and 3 months ago? And then measuring that way, right? Being able to look back and know how far I've come, and the same body, mind, spirit, heart that carried me from 3 months ago to today is the very same one that's going to carry me through to tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm going to look back to today and I'm going to say, holy cow, I slept through the night. Hardcore. I slept through the night. It's like you said, the little wins, the little recognitions, and bringing them to the forefront, because actually that does train new neural pathways, and we don't have to get into that, but it really does, because what you seek is seeking you back, and it's that same concept as and I'm going to butcher it right now. I'll have to think about it. But I'm sorry, I totally lost my frame of mind on it. But that same mind starts to look for the things it recognizes the most. So then not only are we like, wow, I slept through the night, or wow, I had a lot more energy. There was no 3 o'clock crash today. Oh, you know what? I haven't had a headache in 3 days. But being able to look for what's working actually gives room for your body to look for more of what is working, and the mind in that space. So
it's like when you start looking at cars, you see that car.
that's what what is that called?
Yeah.
That's driving me crazy.
Yeah. I there is a phenomenon for that, and I don't remember what it is either right now.
Okay.
But the next lesson...
Reticular activating system.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I love it when that happens. The RAS. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes. So kind of in line with the small wins, the next lesson is hope is medicine and belief often precedes results. And so very similar to what you were just saying of man, if we can start to take a look at these little wins and I can see that I'm making progress and changes, that strengthens that belief that before the changes actually
That's right.
show up, that change is possible.
That's right.
Which is what hope is all about, is just believing that
That's
can
right.
happen.
That's right. Yes.
next lesson that we've learned is the stories we tell ourselves about our bodies can either heal us or harm us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. When you listen to a lie long enough, you start to believe that lie. And this is powerful. This is powerful because this really requires starting to discern the truth from the lies and to track where these stories and where these beliefs came from. And not only that, but to start to challenge the story itself, to start to question the story itself, the narrative. And I want to be really gentle here because I remember being very offended by that word story because I remember thinking like, this is my life. This is like not a story. This is my life in action. And then it made it easier when I started to understand, well, what do you believe about the actions that are taking place right now? What do you believe about what is presenting in life to you right now? And I think it's really important here because when you lead with fear and shame and guilt, and you lead with those thoughts and beliefs and those emotions, the story becomes very distorted and it usually has a lie attached to it. So being able to understand that, how do I know? How do I differentiate? How do I discern, right? You discern a truth from a lie because when you know the truth is light and love, and it's free and it's expansive and it is transformative and it has hope inside of it. It has all of those things inside of it. So the stories we tell ourselves about our bodies can either heal us or they can hurt us, because the truth is that you are worthy of your healing just because you are. Just because you are, because you have all of life surging through you and you are part of this big, beautiful, crazy life. And it's just because you are, not because you had to earn your healing, not because you're paying for something. There's so many things behind this. And this is the thing. This is the thing we're working with, right? This is the thing, right? This is where the best comes from. This is where it all originates from, what we are believing, what we've been conditioned to believe, told to believe, taught to believe, societally, religiously. There's so many constructs, right, to why we believe what we believe. But it's time to start questioning those things.
100%. And not to get too off topic in that regard, but how often do we hear, well, my mom always had this, so I'm going to have it.
That's exactly it. You just took the bait on that.
Well, everyone in my family is diabetic, so here I go. I got the diabetes, right? Like,
that's right.
It's like,
challenge that. You are
challenge
not.
that.
That's right.
Challenge that story.
You are not a prisoner of your
and in
genes.
not a way, like you said, to be careful here, because
yes, very careful.
we're not trying to tell you,
not naive, not
we're
naive.
not trying to tell you that this is not blue.
Oh,
this is red, right? Because we both have had those experiences.
We have had these experiences
where it's like, well, no, that's not blue. It's like,
that's blue.
No, my reality, my story is this is blue.
My reality is that's blue.
Yeah.
It's very blue.
Very blue. So we're not trying to say, we're not doing that.
No.
But we are challenging you to take a look at some of those beliefs, those constructs that you've been told, is that reality?
That's good.
Is that in line with, because we can show you a lot of science and many other things that say that just because your parents have diabetes doesn't mean you have to have diabetes.
That's right. We don't want you to lie to yourself or try to make yourself believe something you don't really believe. That's really important. And you don't want to be naive about it, but all of us knows deep down inside there is a very still small voice speaking. And also just even the offer of, maybe you've never heard that, well, you can challenge that, right? Generational lineage of, right? Rather than just accepting it as that's exactly what it is. That's a whole nother podcast, actually, right there.
All right, the last lesson is one of my favorites.
Oh my.
The greatest transformations happen when you raise your standards. So one of my favorite lectures or talks, it was a talk, Tony Robbins, and he talks about raising your standards. And I love it. At least once a year I try to listen to it because there's so much truth and value to that. So much of life is, right, and this sounds like a cliche, but like outside your comfort zone. And it really just comes down to holding yourself a little bit more accountable to going after your goals and your visions and what could be possible to you. And I feel like so many people give up on that so early that, guess what? It doesn't have to suck when you get older, right? It doesn't have to, like, I think it encapsulates, all the other 14 lessons here is just the power of having, number one, having standards.
Yes.
And number two, being intentional about what those are and knowing what they are. And then not being afraid to, what if I just try to do this a little bit better, right? Like the classic example he gives in the talk is the difference between first and second place in the Olympics is usually thousandths of a second. Okay, the difference between first place and not getting to the Olympics at all might be less than a second. If you get sixth place in the Olympics, second place in the Olympics, no one remembers you. People remember gold medalists, though. And that is totally not fair, but it is absolutely the highest standard, right? Like, it's incredible that, and that's why so many people tune in and watch the Olympics, because the people who are there have higher standards than I do, right? Like they have dedicated their entire life for that moment. And that's amazing to watch. It's inspiring to watch. And so when you look at the people that we idolize in athletics and movies and just books and stories, oftentimes they have convictions and higher standards that we wish that we could hold ourselves to. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit on being vulnerable enough to set a really high standard and maybe not live up to that, but still be so much more than what we're giving ourselves credit for now.
That's a whole nother podcast in itself also.
Yes.
Because there's so many layers to that. And I want to speak to those of us who even question ourselves on, like, who am I to be competing for an Olympic medal, right? Who am I? And I just want to remind you that the only difference, that there is no difference. There really is no difference between you and anyone else other than the fact that you have your own biochemical blueprint, makeup. No one can be you or do you, or no one. There's no one in this world except for you that can do what you do and show up like you show up and be who you are in the world and have the influence that you have on the world, just you and you alone. It's so funny, though, with those standards, to accept that, number one, that I deserve them, right? And then number two, to then worry about what is everybody else going to think of me having these standards. So bust that one away, right? But you gotta bust them all away, because when all is said and done and everything else falls away and you're just left with you, everything's possible. Everything is possible.
And that's ultimately, one of our biggest goals is help you become the best version of you that you can be.
Right.
But you have to also choose.
You have to choose.
What that looks like.
That's right.
We want to support you in every possible way that we can, but we can't do that for you. You have to set those standards.
That's right.
And know what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a fire place to be.
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
So that's 15 lessons, 15 years. This has been pared down. There's been so many lessons that we've learned. At some point I'll do a business lesson.
I think that's great.
Yeah, because that's a whole other topic. But this has been great. It's been really fun to go back and think about the people and the stories and kind of what we've been a part of for the last 15 years. It's really remarkable, and so we're really proud that it's been 15 years. And so I hope that you glean something from these lessons. Hope it's a little inspiring for you. And we look forward to the next 15 years.